Bum 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 ba ba da ba dum bum ba ba da ba dum bum ba ba da ba dum bum 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 bum.
Oh hi! Welcome to Muse to Go. My name is Matt. We're gonna have an awesome time painting cool little rocks for Father's Day. Why? Because dads rock. Hey look, we found some rocks over here. All right, here we are. We are ready to paint some rocks. Look at these examples of rocks we already have painted. Those are just some cool ideas of stuff you could paint for Father's Day. However, if you want to get funky, here's an example, and we'll also get back to that later. Look how cool that looks. Look at that. But first, you gotta go get some rocks. Rocks that are smooth and round and kind of not super tiny are the easiest ones. If they have kind of a busted up side, that's okay. Just put that facing down and no one will know. Here's another example, a big old smooth rock, and it helps to clean them off before you get started. Let's see what else we got. We got our paint all ready to go. We got all of our colors here. You may need more if you have a big rock. You may need less if you have tiny rocks. Also, we got secondary plates for mixing on in case we want kind of an in-between color. And these are just examples, such as this one, or even this little guy over here, of ones that are already painted and we can add textures to later. I went really all out on this one, made a whole scenery because my pops likes golf. But think about your special person. What do they like? Maybe consider, I don't know, something pink or something colorful and sparkly if you have that kind of paint laying around. The weirder you get, the cooler it'll look. But let's get started painting our rocks. All right, we're painting some rocks. We got our standard rocks here, and these are what we're gonna be working with just to make them colorful to begin with. We're probably gonna get a nice first coat on all of them, but it's good to have an idea of what you want before you go into it. And we're gonna start with our separate plate over here. We got our paint ready to go. I'm gonna start by painting this one kind of maybe a light blue, maybe a nice light blue. So I'm gonna take some white, plop it down. Take a little bit of blue and mix it together. A lot of white, a little bit of blue. Again, if you like lighter colors, add more white. If you like more solid colors, add less white. It'll just be more opaque. And I like to start from the bottom. This way, when it touches the paper or whatever, if it gets everywhere, it's all right. And it's easier because I won't have to pick up the rock later on. We're gonna start at the bottom. And if there's a little spot in the center here, you can leave a little message there at the end, and we can always come back to this and add more paint if we want. And if paint gets a little bit on the table or a little bit on whatever space you're working on, it's okay. Just make sure you don't have a really nice, I don't know, table cover down or something like that. We're just gonna paint a nice light blue, something nice, using big brush strokes, good amounts of paint. If you wanna use a small little touch of water, that's okay, but don't go overkill. You really want it to be covered and opaque and solid. And we're gonna take it like that, flip it back over. I'm not gonna touch it anymore because it's gonna be drying down there. The good thing is between layers, make sure it's dry. I'm just gonna be painting this a nice light blue. Using a little bit of water to help get in all those little nooks and crannies. I mean, granted, this is pretty easy, but you want to make sure you let it dry. Granite? No? Rock jokes? Okay, cool. Here we go. We're just going to give it one big once over of light blue. You can always add more later. And if you totally mess up, you can just go get another rock. There's plenty of rocks out there. You could even go down to the rock store and say, hey, I'll have one of those. I don't know. Rocks are cool. Again, the smoother rocks are easier to paint on. If you run out of paint, we can just mix a little bit more paint. It's white with a little tiny touch of blue. A nice sky blue kind of rock. Cool, so we finished painting this rock. This is the bluest rock you've ever seen right here. We're gonna let that dry for a while. If you have a hair dryer, It's good to like kind of hit it from all sides and let it dry. The main thing is we don't want to paint on this until it is absolutely dry. Patience is a virtue, let it dry. So while that one's drying, we're gonna paint a second rock over here. And we're just kind of gonna go for it. So in between colors, if you don't want to do the same color, make sure you're wiping off your brush, washing off your brush. Oh my gosh, look at that go. And we're gonna paint a nice lighter color on this one. Now we may add texture or something interesting to each of these, but we're trying to just have fun with this, you know? And try to think about what you wanna do before you do it. This one kind of looks like a heart. Maybe we'll make it like a love your family or something like that. And again, the backside is busted up, so we'll just make sure that's facing downward. For this color, I'm probably gonna paint it, let's paint it a bright yellow. And paint white with a lot of yellow. There's what colors I'm mixing with right there. And we're just kinda gonna go for it. Again, mixing it up, make sure you have a clean brush. And we're gonna speed this one up super fast. Here we go. All right, here we go. We got our freshly painted rocks right here. They are blue and yellow, and we got two other ones we can work with. Now we're gonna be doing some pretty experimental mark making techniques on these guys. So it helps to have a good space to work with, and we're gonna start to move away stuff that we don't wanna get paint on. So we're gonna move these guys over here to the Randy, and we're gonna make sure we don't have anything of note that we don't wanna get paint on around us. So now's your time to clear away your area. Don't knock your entire water thing over like I almost just did. And now we're just gonna focus on these guys. We got a white one here too. Look at that, he's ready to go. Keep him on standby. We got this one, I kind of already did a really cool splatter paint technique, but on the back, again, made a little spot for it. We're gonna write something really cute on that. And these guys, ooh man, we're gonna write some really cool stuff on these. So I'm gonna start with the really cool mark making technique on this blue one first, and then we'll get to our yellow guy. So here, just check to make sure it's dry. If paint comes off, it's not dry, but this one is. And we got a little space on the back too to write whatever we want. If you really want to paint that and cover it up and paint it up, that's totally cool. Just make sure you touch this side up too. So we're still using our big brush for this. This is where we're going to be using, let's do a little bit of splatter paint on this guy. So we got our light blue down. Blue and light blue and white all look super cool when it's all kind of together. So I'm going to use a little bit, I'm still using the same plate. Using a little touch of blue paint and a lot of water over here. Little touch of blue paint and a lot of water. And we're gonna get ready to do my favorite thing in all of painting. It's splatter paint. Also, don't mix right above the rock you're working on. That's probably a good idea, but it's gonna get messy anyways. So from here, we have a lot of water on our brush and a little bit of blue paint mixed in. Looks kind of like so. Try to make it not mix with anything else there. But now we kind of just go to town. I'm gonna pinch off my brush right there by the bristles and pull it towards me, and it's gonna flick water towards it like so. Now I start with way less, because if you start with less, you can always add more. If you start with too much, that's gonna be a really blue rock, and that's cool too. Just start with less, get the hang of it. If you need to, add way more water than you think you need. See how watery that is? So watery. And I'm hitting it from the sides too. And we're just making it more dynamic and colorful. So when you give it to your special someone, you're not like, hey, I just painted a blue rock for you, because that'd be kind of weird. But if you put some effort into it, they'll be like, oh, that's cute, that's the coolest thing. And then maybe they'll want to try this themselves and you can teach them. So that's also neat. Okay, we're splatter painting, little bits of dark blue towards the bottom. Notice how it kind of hits it. You can hit it from the top like so. And this is the funnest thing, so go crazy with it. This is the best thing in all of painting. We got dark blue on the bottom. We're gonna rotate it about 90 degrees. Actually 180 degrees. I'm an artist, not a mathematician. And then we're gonna add some white splatters to the top of it. So very carefully, I can touch it from the bottom, just kind of slightly touch it like so. Boom, I'm gonna wipe off my brush, wash out my brush. We're gonna do the same thing, but now with white. Same thing now with a little bit of white paint. Now you can use whatever color you want. You could use red and orange. Just keep in mind, the more colors you add, the kind of wet and mushier it'll all get, and there's kind of a point of diminishing returns. So make sure you're painting cautiously, but kind of more freeform right now. We do the same watery paintbrush technique. A lot of water. I'll even give you a little bit more water right there. How about that? Pinching at the bristles. We're gonna start with a little bit less than we think we need. And doing the same technique, even to the other side. Now, if you wanted to hit this with 7 different colors, that's okay, but I recommend just letting it dry between each thing and do whatever makes it look cool. All right, we got our rock splatter painted. Look at this guy. It's got a lot of texture, some movement. We'll write some cool stuff or paint it a little bit more in a second. We're gonna show you a different way to do techniques with this guy. So instead of using a brush, we're gonna get even messier. If you haven't made enough mess yet, we're gonna get to it. So for this one, we're gonna add a little bit of just pure yellow with a scrunched up paper towel. Make sure you have plenty of paper towels on standby. You're having fun today. This is gonna be great. So I'm just gonna squanch a little bit of get a little bit of yellow paint onto my paper towel. Make sure it's kind of not like a flat surface, but it's got nooks and crannies to it there. And we're just gonna hit this guy from the sides. A little bit more yellow. A little bit more yellow going on. Don't have gloops and globs of paint, but you can have little texture bits going on. We just made it more yellow. And that looks really cool. So we're making sure we get it from the bottom and the sides. This way, this will be our focal point right here. We'll write something really cute there. And that's just another technique. If you wanted to, you could even add a little bit more with maybe, I don't know, a drop of red to your yellow here. We'll drop a red and a little bit of yellow. What color does that make? That's right, orange. You got it. Orange, you glad you're painting something for someone today? Well, that's cool. I like that one. Orange is my favorite color. If you get a little blue in it, just try to keep it out of there. And we're just gonna add some subtle little splatters of orange, or a giant splatter of orange, whatever works for us. We can cover that up with a letter or something cool. Just little bits of orange, just to make it dynamic and neat. Here we go. We'll even rotate it a little bit this way to work with it. All right, we got our other rock that we're working with. Does this thing look plain? Does it look kind of boring? Yeah, we should switch it up. We're gonna do some polka dots on this one. For this, we're gonna do some red polka dots. Adding a little bit of red to my brush. I'm using a smaller brush for this one now because polka dots are small on a small rock. If you got a big rock, do big polka dots. What I'll do is I'll just start to add dots wherever I want on it. It looks almost like an egg at some point. We're gonna do some polka dots. We'll even add some more dots inside of these dots. Here we go. I'm gonna sit down for this. You maybe need a little bit more control for details such as this. But if you want different color polka dots, go for it. Main thing is take your time. Try not to move your thing you're painting on too much. And maybe even a little bit more paint than you think you need really helps out. Look at how gloopy and globby it is on the end of my brush. That's pretty cool. That helps out. See how it makes it a little bit more round? You even just go in and go give it a little polka dot like there. Polka dot like here. And we're gonna speed this up and show you just how crazy it can get. In between colors, make sure you're wiping off your brush, washing off your brush. But other than that, you know, just go for it. All right, so we got our rocks relatively painted, or something that we can write on and it looks kind of cool. We got other ones painted like this. This little guy is painted super clever, kind of polka dots. The back isn't painted, but it still looks really cool. And we even got our big blue one that we're working with. This one's really nice. And now we're just gonna take our time to add writing or something cool to these rocks, or even details. And we'll kind of fast forward through this and take a kind of crash course into how to add details for things. But we're gonna be using our small yellow brush. We'll be using our smallest brush that we can, holding it very close. Try not to touch all over it. The less you touch it, the better it will come out. We're also gonna be resting our hand, I don't know, about an inch or two away. If you're totally not cool with using a brush for details and you have something really serious, you can always use a marker. Look at all this mess that we made. We just finished painting our rocks. Look at all these details. Make sure you spelled everything right. And yeah, make sure they look good. When you're done, don't forget to sign the back of your rock or leave an endearing message before you give to somebody. All right, we are done painting all of our rocks. We finished all of our details and we're pretty much good to go. Hope you had a great time painting rocks with us today. We'd love to see whatever you painted, so be sure to tag us at Muse Paint Bar. And I hope whoever you give your rocks to thinks they rock. Have a good one. My name is Matt. See you later.
Bum 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 ba da ba dum bum ba da ba dum bum ba da ba dum bum 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 bum.